The NBA we see today is almost unrecognizable from just a few decades ago. Back then, the paint was packed, post moves were king, and the three-point line, well, it was more of a novelty rather than a strategy. So let's go ahead and dig into how did we get here? How did the three-point line completely revolutionize basketball? Stick around because we're diving into how basketball went from post-ups to pull-ups. And before we dig into today's video, make sure you guys like and subscribe to stay in the know about everything NBA. I really do appreciate it, and let's go ahead and start the video. Alright, and to get full context on just how revolutionary the three-point line's addition was to basketball, let's go ahead and look at the 70s and 80s. Back then, basketball was all about size and strength. Centers like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Wilt Chamberlain dominated the league, with offenses basically designed to feed the ball into the paint. Teams played with their big men, and mid-range shots were actually considered to be high percentage shots. And the three-point line, introduced in 1979, it was viewed more as a gimmick than a game changer. Coaches and players alike avoided it, thinking it was too risky. In fact, some teams would go entire games without attempting a single three-pointer. Fast forward here to the early 2000s when everything began to change. Enter analytics, a new way of starting to think about the game. Inspired by the Moneyball movement in baseball, NBA teams started to question traditional strategies. They discovered something that would flip the game on its head. Three-pointers were statistically one of the most valuable shots in basketball. And I mean, think about it, once this math got introduced, a mid-range jump shot might go in 50% of the time, but a three-pointer that hits about 35% of the time will still be worth more points over the long run, right? Let's go ahead and break it down here. A 2-point shot made at 50% gives you an average of 1 point per attempt, but a 3-point shot, even if it's at 33.3%, still averages 1 point per attempt. That's the baseline. If you can shoot better than 33.3% from deep, you're more efficient than a 50% 2-point shooter, and this was one of the catalysts to this three-point revolution we see today. One of the biggest advocates for this philosophy was Daryl Morey in the 2010s, the general manager of the Houston Rockets. Morey's team prioritized threes and layups while virtually eliminating mid-range shots. This approach, often called Morey ball, became a blueprint for modern NBA offenses and is still something we see today, especially across the entire association. And of course, analytics are only part of a story, like everything with basketball. It took visionary players to prove just how powerful the three-point shot could be. Let's start with Reggie Miller, a pioneer in an era where three-point shooting was still considered a niche. Miller's ability to hit clutch threes in big moments showed the value of the shot. Then after him came Ray Allen, who turned three-point shooting into an art form. His off-ball movement and deadly accuracy made him one of the most feared shooters in the entire league. And who could forget his legendary three-pointer in Game 6 of the 2013 NBA Finals, of course. But if Reggie and Ray laid the foundation, Steph Curry blew the roof off. Drafted by the Warriors in 2009, Curry didn't just shoot threes, he really redefined what is possible. Pull-ups from 30 feet, no problem. Shots from the logo, easy. Now we see people like Damian Lillard do this all the time. It's spreading across the entire league. His backcourt partner, Klay Thompson, only added fuel to the fire. Thompson's record-setting 37-point quarter is a testament to just how lethal the three-point shot became. And going back to the Houston Rockets, we can't forget about James Harden, whose step-back three-pointer became one of the most unstoppable moves in basketball. Harden shattered records for three-point attempts, embodying the Morey ball philosophy to its fullest. Something else to consider here with the three-point revolution is that coaches were pivotal in embracing it. Steve Kerr's Golden State Warriors proved that ball movement and spacing could create unbeatable offenses. His system emphasized creating open looks through consistent off-ball motion, screens, and unselfish passing. Meanwhile, Mike D'Antoni's 7 seconds or less Phoenix Suns introduced pace and perimeter shooting, laying the groundwork for modern NBA offenses. D'Antoni showed the league that playing fast and shooting often wasn't just fun, it could actually win you games. Today's coaching designed offenses to exploit the three-point line, blending analytics with traditional playmaking. We see strategies like drive and kick offenses where ball handlers attack the paint, collapse defenses, and pass to wide open shooters. While the three-point revolution continues to dominate, some wonder if the league has reached a tipping point. Are we heading towards oversaturation? Critics argue that relying too heavily on three-pointers make games predictable. They point to teams hoisting 40 or even 50 three-pointers in a game as evidence that the balance of the sport has been shifted way too far. The NBA has always been cyclical. Just as the three-pointer overtook post-up and mid-range jumper, there's potential for a new shift. Could it be a resurgence of inside scoring spurred by new rule changes that favor physicality in the paint, or perhaps a re-imaging of the mid-range shot led by players like Kevin Durant and DeMar DeRozan who continue to thrive in that space? Some analytics predict that as defenses adapt even more to stop three-point shooting, offenses will look for counterbalances. After all, basketball has always thrived on evolution. The next chapter of the game may already be unfolding. Only time will tell what the future holds. Today, the NBA three-point shot is king. The average team now shoots over 35 threes per game compared to less than 3 in the 1980s. Teams like the Golden State Warriors and the Boston Celtics have shown that you can win championships by building offenses around spacing and perimeter shooting. The three-point line didn't just change guard play, it transformed literally every position. Stretch bigs who can shoot from deep now are essential. Meanwhile, traditional big men who can't guard the perimeter often find themselves unplayable in today's game. Think of someone like Yusuf Nurkic, who was just moved to the 4th string for the Suns, and they can't find a single trade for him because he can't shoot the ball, right? And here's another fun stat. In today's NBA, the league-wide average for three-point shooting hovers around 36%. That means the majority of players shooting threes are more efficient than even the best mid-range shooters of the past. This revolution hasn't just impacted the pros, it's changed how the game is taught at literally every single level. Young players now are growing up watching stars like Steph Curry and Damian Lillard hit threes from absolute distances. Even youth basketball leagues are adapting and encourage players to develop range and accuracy from a young age. The three-point isn't just a tool anymore, it's a necessity for aspiring players who want to compete at higher levels and get paid the big bucks. The three-point revolution has also a massive global impact. International players, long known for their shooting ability, have found great success in the NBA. Stars like Dirk Nowitzki paved the way, while players like Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis have carried the torch. The global game has embraced the three-pointer just as much as the NBA. In leagues across Europe and Asia, teams have adapted to modern NBA strategies, prioritizing spacing and perimeter shooting. The result? A more interconnected basketball world where the influence of the three-point revolution knows no borders. Beyond basketball itself, the three-point revolution has been a business boom for the NBA. High-scoring games driven by the excitement of three-pointers have kept fans engaged and brought in record viewership recently in the past, 10 years if we look at the other decades, right? Players known for their shooting skills like Steph Curry and Damian Lillard have become global icons, fueling jersey sales and massive endorsement deals. And let's not forget how this style of play has influenced marketing. Highlights of deep threes dominate social media, creating viral moments that expand the NBA's reach to younger audiences. Three-point revolution isn't just changing basketball, it's reshaping how the sport is consumed worldwide. Of course, with every revolution comes an adaptation. Defenses have evolved dramatically in response to the three-point explosion. Teams now prioritize switchable defenders who can guard multiple positions and contest shots on the perimeter. We've also seen the rise of analytic-driven defensive schemes like zone defenses designed to limit three-point attempts. Coaches are consistently experimenting to find ways to counteract the efficiency of the modern three-point shot, making the chess match between offense and defense more fascinating than ever. But not everyone is thrilled with the direction basketball has taken. Critics argue that the game has become one-dimensional, with teams relying too heavily on three-point shooting. Others miss the physicality and diversity of strategies that defined earlier eras, right? And on top of that, we're really seeing that with viewership in the NBA currently down from last season. That's why I kind of talked about how in the previous decades it's been up, but right now it's down. But honestly, still, there's no denying the fact of the three-point revolution. It's made the game faster, more dynamic, and more inclusive, with players of all sizes finding a way to contribute. The three-point shot has changed everything about basketball. It started as a gimmick, has become the foundation of modern strategy, inspiring a new generation of players to push the boundaries of what's possible. Love it or hate it, the three-point revolution is here to stay. Alright, y'all, we have reached the end of the video here. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure you guys like, and don't forget to subscribe, and let me know in the comments, do you think the three-point revolution has made basketball better, like better to watch, better to analyze, better to kind of dig deeper into? I think that it has, honestly, but I'm curious to see your thoughts. Once again, thanks so much for sticking around. I'll see you guys next week.